Hi guys, welcome back to another video today. And today we are going to be talking about what I like to call right now the Wild Wild West. As the Western Conference right now in some ways has been underwhelming in the sense of teams like the Warriors or the Blazers or just many other teams in general you could think of necessarily aren't performing like they should be. And to be honest, what I find really interesting is looking at the seeding and just how tight everything is. The Warriors are sitting at 25 and 24 right now, which would make them the 7th seed, and the Lakers are 23 and 26. So it's not even as if these teams are starting to really distinguish themselves outside of maybe the top 5, but even then you could argue that that's just due to a lack of games. So today, guys, I hope you can leave a like, subscribe, comment. Your support would be really helped out, you guys. So today, let's get into who do I think will make the play-in and then obviously potentially the playoffs. And today, I, at least last night, had done this segment off of just the standings at the time. So let's go off it. So at this point, the 6th seed are the Dallas Mavericks. And you might be like, but Emster, they're not necessarily a play-in team. Well, with Luka getting hurt in the first quarter in their last game against the Phoenix Suns, the question now needs to be begged, how long is Luka going to be out for? Because now, according to Cleaning the Glass, the Dallas Mavericks had the #1 half-court offense in the league with Luka there. And obviously, you guys, I do not think they're going to maintain that without him. And it really just depends on how many games they can really keep up. And I'm not quite sure how much they can. I don't necessarily think they're going to fall out of the play-in or picture altogether, or they're going to be this team that is now just going to keep Luka out because they're going to be in the lottery. But I don't necessarily bank my money on them staying where they are. So to be honest, I think the Mavericks might end up at the 8th seed or 9th, considering how long Luka's out for. Now, if he's only out for a couple games, then I guess he might just stay at the 6 or the 7, depending on how the Mavericks play without him. But yeah, so I think Dallas is going to fall from the 6th seed, and we're going to see a new playoff lock team. And then we're going to talk about the Phoenix Suns. Now, the Phoenix Suns obviously had just lost to Luka, but before that, we're on a little win streak and sitting at 500 right now. So this also depends on Devin Booker, who's about to get reevaluated as it's been a month since his initial injury. And boy, oh boy, do they need Devin Booker right now. Because I think if they get Devin Booker back within the next week, maybe, and if they win a game or two on their own before they get him back, I think this team might take that 6 to 5 seed at best. And I really think at that point they could play their way out of the play-in. Because with Devin Booker, they looked like a much better team. They were a top seed in the West. I think it was top 2 before he got hurt. So at that point, I mean, we know the value that Devin Booker brings. So why not give him an argument for why they can be out of the play-in picture altogether because they're back in the playoffs. And I think, honestly, guys, the Suns are going to be looking at the 6th seed, taking that from the Mavericks as they play without Luka. So let's just say they fall to rise to the 6 as the Mavericks fall to the 8 or the 7. And now the Warriors. Now, this is a team that we've talked about giving the benefit of the doubt for the past however long. But we're 49 games in, and they're 1 game above 500. They have won almost no games away on the road. They are sitting at 6 and 18. I do not know how much faith I could put in a team that does not play good away, let alone in the playoffs. So honestly, guys, I think the Warriors might stick at this 7, 8. Maybe if they get on a really big run, they're on a 2-game winning streak as I'm recording this video. Maybe then they can get somewhere. But to be honest, I don't really see the Warriors making some big playoff push in terms of getting into the top 6. They might be a play-in team. They could steal that 6. But I think the Warriors might stay where they are right now at 7. Because again, I think their away home record is going to mess them up. And now the Minnesota Timberwolves, who, when I did a little bit of research looking into their remaining strength of schedule, their total strength of schedule is a .528, which is like the cumulative record of the teams they have left to play. So they're playing mostly above 500 teams. And to be honest, I think they might be the team to fall out of the play-in altogether. As they've been getting on a 2-game winning streak, my one thing with them is for every winning streak they go on, they proceed to then lose just as much, if not more. So I just can't imagine this team right now, the way that they're playing and with the strength of schedule they have coming up, being able to compete with those tough teams. And at times they're losing to some of these teams that they just have no business losing to. So for me, I think the Minnesota Timberwolves might be the team that falls off, which is going to be really tough because we really see Ant start to make steps, and this team as a unit start to make steps. But with Cat being out for an indeterminable amount of time now, because obviously that 4 to 6 weeks back in November has for sure passed, I'm going to be honest, you guys, I just don't know how much I can put faith in guys like D'Angelo Russell or Rudy or McDaniels to be consistently great players to help Ant get to the play-in and stay where they are. And then the Utah Jazz, who are currently sitting at the 10 seed. So Utah is on a 1-game losing streak, which is just they just lost their most recent game. But to me, I think Utah might be the team that just sticks around at 10. Or if they fall, they'd be at 11, and the most dramatic last game determining play-in or not at all type of game. So even as I've been thinking about it now, there is a good chance that they fall out. But I just think that this team has been playing such good team basketball that while teams like the Lakers or the Warriors struggle away, and they're not necessarily the best away team either, but they're much better than some of these other teams that we're discussing, maybe they do just kind of manage to pull it out just due to how good of a lead they had built up back at the beginning of the season. But to be honest, you guys, I think that they could stay to 10, but realistically, they'll probably fall to 11 or 12, just out of sheer lack of ability to keep up with some of these teams. But maybe, just maybe, they manage to stay in the play-in and keep this nice little fantasy run on the move. The Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, this is a team who I genuinely might think can take that Utah spot or Minnesota spot as they fall out, because honestly, the Oklahoma City Thunder have the strength of schedule of a .467. That is the worst in the entire NBA. The worst. They still have 3 games against the Rockets. They play the Pistons, the Spurs, and they get to play teams like the Lakers, who honestly they can steal a game or two from. And as they've been able to really get good production now from Giddey and Dort, and obviously Shea, who I made a video on, has been hooping. I mean, this team is starting to look like they can just take that 10 or 9 seed. Now, do I think they might win the play-in? Not necessarily. But do I think that they could be a real threat and make the play-in? Absolutely. I think that they are playing such good team basketball that they are really competing out there with the best of them. And honestly, I could give them a good chance to make the play-in, considering teams like Minnesota and Utah honestly just having a much harder road to pave for themselves versus the Thunder, who have a much, much easier road. And then finally, now we have the Trailblazers, who currently are on a winning streak last time I had checked. And honestly, you guys, this team, I don't know how to feel about it. They're 4-6 in their last 10. And to be honest with you, when I watch them play sometimes, there are moments where I'm like, this might be the best Trailblazer team that Dame's ever really had in terms of, Dame being this version of Dame. But at the same time, I sit there and I go, good God, this team can't win if they even try to. And to be honest, I respect the Blazers a lot, as I like their team and they're really fun to watch, but with guys like Nurkic, who I think kind of hold them back a little bit just because of his lack of offensive and defensive abilities at moments, to be 100% honest with you, I just think they might be a team that doesn't make it. And I think that might just be the catalyst that pushes Dame out of Portland. And if it doesn't, then good for you, man. Keep being loyal. But to be honest, at this point, I think it's time for the Blazers to really, really, really consider to move on. Because at this point, if you can't even move up with this struggling West, I don't know when you think you're going to make some push, let alone compete for the play-in. So maybe the Blazers end up being that 11 seed and they stay right outside the play-in. And then the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, this team is all dependent on the health. And the reason I say that is if they have AD and LeBron for the rest of the season, as currently they have played 49 games, they will most likely be a play-in team. They will most likely take that Utah or that Minnesota spot along with Oklahoma. But there's also a chance that, God forbid, AD or LeBron get hurt and they miss just enough time that it throws everything out of whack. And that throwing everything out of whack buries them into a hole that they just might never, ever be able to get out of. So if this team stays healthy, I think they'll probably end up an 8-9 seed. Or 10th at the absolute worst, again, considering that maybe AD misses 3 games or LeBron misses a game here or there. But honestly, this team should be able to make the play-in. Do I think they'll win the play-in? That maybe is a different story. But right now, this video is really just trying to figure out, you guys, who is competing for this play-in really? Who should we be sitting here and being like, yeah, this team will stay, this team will move, and who do I think is really going to make it, and what do you guys think? So now let's just go over the cumulative thoughts of this video. So currently, again, at the 6 you have Dallas, at 7 is Golden State, 8 is Minnesota, 9 is Phoenix, and 10 is Utah. And the way that I project things will probably end up it'll probably be Phoenix at 6. Golden State might stay at 7. Mavericks will probably fall to 8. You'll probably see Oklahoma or LA at 9. And then I think, honestly, Utah could be 10th with either the LA or Oklahoma City team that doesn't get that 9 spot. But I think Portland is probably not going to make the play-in. I think Minnesota's going to fall off due to their strength of schedule. And honestly, their play just being all over the place. And to be honest, guys, I want you to tell me if you think this is because the West is this good or if teams have just been extremely underwhelming. So as always, guys, this is Mr. Knows Hoops. Leave a like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you guys think of this video. It's a little bit different, but I thought it'd be fun to talk about. So go ahead and have a great rest of your night. Thank you. Peace out.